But with the new Halo Infinite update, Operation Frontlines, officially out, we have a lot of controversy. Halo content creators are going ballistic online, and there are definitely some tears flowing. As a devout Halo fan, it feels like I need to throw myself in the middle of this debate and answer the question of whether this update is the end of all things Halo, like what some people are saying, or if it's actually a pretty good change up for the game that was needed. Did Halo Studios actually drop a good update? Does it continue to show their greedy ass ways? Let's jump right into it. So one of the biggest topics that Halo fans and content creators are really going crazy over is this new operation structure. To give you a little bit of a refresher, in the first year of the game, we had seasons, very similar to what most live service games have. Season 1 and 2 were roughly $10 a piece and included 100 tiers. But remember, it wasn't actually 100 tiers because most of the time they actually separated armor pieces, like you had unlocked the right shoulder piece and then in a different tier you unlocked the left shoulder piece. Like, what the hell are you thinking? We all know this is a bunch of bullcrap, and for a while it actually was pretty shady of 343 to actually hide this from us, but only those with a keen eye and a little bit of a tip of the fedora as myself could actually figure out that they actually were dividing these pieces from each other. And on top of that, they were including a lot of XP grants and boosts, and oh yeah, I forgot, they lasted for 5 months apiece. Pretty gross. Then in the second year, they dropped seasons 3 through 5, which were a hell of a lot better. And each of these seasons were still $10 a piece, but did mix themselves between 100 tiers and 50 tiers. But this time they actually did kind of show the truth of that they're going to give you a combination of armor pieces as a combo rather than have it divided as really greedy as it was before. They gave us new cores of unlocks that we can get and really did diversify the different types of armors that we really did obtain, which made these seasons way better than what we had before. And I think one of the best parts about it was that these seasons also included credits. If you bought season 3, you actually earned enough credits that you could automatically unlock season 4 by just completing it entirely. In my opinion, was one of the best things they included, because if you really think about it, 343 Industries was showing how greedy they were, and they actually gave you an incentive to buy into one of the seasons so that you can just basically just play through all of it and unlock the next season automatically. It gave you a sense of something to grind for, and I was actually all for that. But then when we got into the end of year 2, we headed into operations, which if you watch my recent video going into year 3 was very controversial and got a lot of Halo fans really in that mood of depression because they felt like, well, we're no longer going to be getting seasons with a lot of content, and now we're going to get these monthly operations, and a lot of people didn't know what that really meant for the game. Now, these monthly operations passes were 20 free tiers of content, a mix of one armor set, a hell of a lot of exchange tokens that could be used to exchange for new items in the shop, a crap ton of boosts and XP grants, and if you wanted to, you can pay 500 credits to permanently unlock this pass, even if it ends, meaning that you can essentially play it at any point in time, and you wouldn't have to worry about running out of time to play it and unlock everything that was there. And on top of that, the store content was extremely expensive still, right from day one. $35 for the bigger bundles, $20 for smaller bundles, and everything in between. Just pretty pathetic. So you might ask then, well, what's the big change? Well, in the new update, the first operation set is going to feature a 50-tier reward track. The next 2 operations after that will be 20 tiers that you can unlock after that. So essentially, what 343 had said in his live stream was that, well, if you want to play the free method, which basically means you pay 0 money at all towards these operations, you unlock 20 free tiers automatically. And that includes the first operations pass, which is for the Frontlines update that we got more recently, including 20 free tiers for the next 2, which is the Blue Team update and the Forerunner up. But you actually can pay $10 down and you get these additional tiers that you can unlock. Now, one of the interesting things about these new tiers is that they essentially are going to be paid content that would eventually go into the store. Halo Studios devs had announced that if you run out of time on these operations passes, the operation would close out, meaning that if you all the free content that you didn't get to unlock would eventually go into the exchange, meaning that you could grind for free and earn exchange tokens to then buy these pieces that you did not get to obtain in the free operations pass. And all the premium pieces that you would have earned if you paid $10 would then go into the store and be way more expensive, like tripling the amount of money that you would pay in the premium pass would then be worth like $35, like I said before, to unlock all 3 of them, which is crazy if you think about it. Now, there's a kind of good and bad, in my opinion, with this new change, because I'll be honest with you, a lot of people are losing their minds over it. The positive is that, well, you are providing a way for people to earn store content without having to pay the max price for bundles, which makes this a lot cheaper, which, yes, is better than it was before, but it's not great that they are still going to be added to the store. The other positive is you still get to have free tiers. So if you don't want to buy anything, you can just play the game and you can earn this free content without a worry. We also do have now a confirmation that every month you're going to get something new, whether it's tiers that you can unlock things with, maps or modes, and we're going to kind of see this kind of mirroring the battle pass method that we've had previously. So for 3 months, we're going to get something bigger, but every month they're going to get something new to grind for, which I'm all for. The negative is that now that they take away the option for you to buy the premium pass after the operation is over, it means that you're basically locked out. Like, yes, if you buy the premium pass at the time, you will keep that. But that is something that they did say will basically keep that available for you, so that because you already paid money for it, they're not going to take away those pieces. You can grind for that. But let's just say you are playing the free option and you're just playing the game, and all of a sudden you realize that, oh, I actually got through 50 tiers, but I didn't buy the premium right off the gate. Technically, by what Halo Studios said, that if you don't buy it before the operation runs out, you lose the option of buying it completely, which is kind of shady, because then all of a sudden all the things that you could have earned if you paid $10 go into the store or go into the exchange, which means that you would have to pay more for them. And it uses this FOMO, or the fear of missing out method, which a lot of people are annoyed with. I know I saw Min Blitz have a complete shitstorm on his video recently. I know other content creators were really upset with this. I think Hidden Zaperna had a brain aneurysm recently. But at the end of the day, it's something that I think most operations passes are using. And I think one of the worst things about it is that we really lost the chance to earn credits to buy operations going forward. And I think we lost that when we did switch to operations altogether. I think it was one of the best things that Halo Infinite did do, comparing itself to a lot of other live service games. And I mean, like, when you look at this comparison, it does mirror a lot of other games like Marvel Rivals or COD or Fortnite, and they all follow this same method. There's a crew of fans that are going ballistic over this, and it sort of feels like this is kind of obvious. I feel like this is what live service gaming is, and it's not great. I'm not defending these methods, but at the same time, it's something that we've seen in most other games. The big problem is that it feels like Halo and Helldivers were the only games that actually gave the ability to buy other operations passes or battle passes by just playing the game, and they didn't give you a time limit. They almost gave you the option to just keep grinding, and if you ran out of time, then you can just go back to it and play it more. Like, there were times where I didn't get to complete certain operations passes like the Halloween, and I said, well, I want to complete the rest of this. I can pay $5 and reopen it, and I can then just grind the rest of it. But in this new system, you don't have that option, right? You can't buy into an older battle pass and jump into it. Like, I remember that if you're a new Halo Infinite player, like, technically based on this logic, that you wouldn't be able to go buy into a lot of these other operations that have passed already. Seasons 1 through 5, I think technically are still open for you to purchase and jump into, but there have been a lot of operations at this point that you can unlock content with. But technically, if they're following this standard for all the even old operations, then you really lose out on a lot of really cool content. And I'm wondering if 343, or now Halo Studios, basically the same people at this point, if they realize this, because I know that Halo Infinite is older. It's in its 4th year now, and there are some new players jumping in. But let's just say they go to PlayStation at a certain point. You do want to give those players an ability to unlock all this cool stuff that you've created. By locking down these operations passes, you're not really giving them a option to do that. I think it's a good and bad. I think there's a give and take to this whole situation. The good is that you can now get a lot more armors for less, and it gives us the reason to grind for them. Like, if you're wondering, well, why do I have to play all these operations? Why am I grinding to unlock everything? Well, this gives you that option. It gives you that reason to keep playing. I just feel like they could have solved so many problems if after year 1, which was abysmal, to pay homage to the fans and say, you know what? We're wrong. We started this game in such a bad state that we're going to do something to support you all. That they should have got rid of the shop entirely, took all those shop armors and put them into either making more operations or at least add them to the battle passes. Because if you really think about the amount of store items that have been added since Halo Infinite's been launched, you could have made maybe 3 to 4 more seasons. Like, we ended at season 5 with 50 tiers. You could have made season 6, 7, 8, and even more than that with all these store items that were there. You could have taken everything that you add to the store and made battle passes out of them, and charged $10 a piece, and you would have made more money overall. Like, I think, yes, there are people like me that will buy certain things in the shop that I think are really cool. There are also other people that will buy things in the shop, but at the same time, there's a lot more Halo fans out there that are not doing that. But I just feel like you're not getting as much of a buck, and that's kind of the point. The reason why they're making this change is because they realize that not as many people are buying from the shop, so they have to give somewhat of an incentive to buy something. So why even do this if you can just add all this stuff to battle passes and just make battle passes again? I feel like people actually would buy that stuff and grind for content if you're actually including that. You know, I feel like that's something that people would be happy about. They announced these trio operations where every 3 months we're going to get these bigger updates, whether it's going to be guns, game modes, maps, and hopefully vehicles at some point. And I think so far, and I saw some leaks about the armors, and they look pretty sick. Frontlines is heavy into ODST variants. Blue Team is obviously based off the Halo 5 and the Blue Team themselves, which at times can get me really nervous because Halo 5 armors look pretty gross, but the Forerunner armor sets look really, really cool. I feel like the Diadact helmet is pretty wild. And the summer update has a new trio, and what is this? The double barrel shotgun is arriving in May?
Yes!
We did it, guys. All my pestering made them learn and drop the gun. I mean, I don't want to take all the credit, but you know, it was a team effort. I'll say that. It was definitely something we all fought for, and finally it's going to arrive. I don't have to cry into my pillow anymore. But before we move forward, what do you think about new operation options? What would you change if you were leading Halo Studios? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Drop a thumbs up and subscribe to support the channel. Now let's get back to the rest of the update. The other big controversy was the balancing. And there's a lot of things they changed, and probably the biggest change was with the AR. Now, if I was looking at the AR changes to what they did, they made the gun more accurate. It's similar to what it was during the launch of Halo Infinite, which was amazing. It was my favorite AR in the entire series. But they did something that was sort of giving me a sense of caution. The AR loses the headshot multiplier that it once had, meaning that headshots do nothing to the damage of the Spartan. So essentially, you can shoot anywhere on their body and it's the same amount of damage output, which does change the way the gun feels. Now you may ask, well, what the hell does this do? It makes the gun's finishing power essentially turbo ass. The only way to kill an enemy now is to just spray into their body until they die, basically using the caveman method. Because with those with skill, like myself, the way to use this gun the best way would be to fire it in bursts. And then once you break their shields, you would aim a little higher on their head and fire in burst again. And most likely, if you did this method, especially from the launch of the game, you would get a snap of a kill. Like, it would easily kill them in a quicker fashion compared to those that were spraying and praying. But since they changed this, especially in the last update, they made killing people with AR a lot harder, or at least with some sort of a learning curve. I made a video on the last time they changed the AR, and I had a lot of pushback. People were saying that the AR is meant to be a burst weapon, like they didn't know what the hell the AR even was, thinking that I meant the BR, which is a completely different gun, and people were trying to defend this change that 343 at the time had made. But the reality is, yes, they was really inaccurate last time and they made a change to make it feel a little bit better, but now you made the gun's finishing power worse. And a lot of times it feels as if I would rather use the pistol instead of the AR, and that's not what I'm for. I'm actually completely against that. I don't want to return to the Halo 5 pistols because that just gives me nightmares. But other than the AR, they did make some other changes to some guns. Specifically, the biggest one was the shotguns. The shotguns are just ass. They just suck ass now. The heat wave reticle is now wider, making it more inaccurate, and the power just sucks balls. The Bulldog lost its headshot multiplier just like the AR, so it automatically becomes a 3-shot kill gun, making it worthless in a firefight. Because I'm sorry, if you miss one shot at all, you're done. It's over. Game over. Turn off the Xbox. Get off the game. Because you're not going to be able to kill a person in less than 2 shots. Because with the headshot multiplier, if you were good, you can aim for the head, and now it turns into a 2-shot gun, which is way better. The gun was already ass before, and now you just made it worse. And at this point, what it does for me is it tells me I will not use the Bulldog or the Heat Wave, and I'll just use the Mangler or the Hydra, because those guns are stronger, more accurate, and they can kill people in a quicker fashion compared to the Bulldog or the Heat Wave, which means that shotguns are gross. And it gives me a reminder of how bad Halo Infinite shotguns are. Like, I need shotguns again. I need real shotguns in Halo again, like real ones, not some garbage guns or this fire extinguisher I'm using with the Bulldog. It feels like a lot of times I'm healing people with this gun, and this needs to change right away. Now, some other balancing that they did, and I'll be very brief here, the grenades are bouncier, similar to the older games, which can cause some wild plays to happen. The biggest thing is the movements are definitely updated, because you no longer are snapping your Spartan back and forth like your finger blasting your keyboard, because now they actually give some friction, or they give it where movement has some sort of acceleration to it. You know, like reality. Nobody can instantly dance around the corner without actually building speed. The gameplay feels a lot closer to the older games, and strafing is not outrageous. And a lot of times it actually makes it feel easier to hit dudes with guns, especially one-on-one battles. You're not going to get these wild snapping gameplay, and it feels like the balancing has like some mix to it. Has some good and bad. Now, the new weapon that was added, it was also pretty controversial. The fuel rod spanker. Yeah, that doesn't really sound great. It actually has the sounds of a fuel rod cannon. It has the green bullets, but it's in a rocket launcher or spanker rocket launcher look. They added some modifications to it to make it look like a new gun, but we all can tell that it's the rocket launcher with the same animations with just a slightly different look to it. And honestly, this caused a lot of people to be angry. I actually called this in a previous video, and I even said, hey, I actually said that they should be doing this more often, because there are certain weapon variants that they've created that look like brand new guns. Like in a recent video, I said the sniper rifle weapon variant looks just like the binary rifle, and they should have just made the binary rifle out of it. And it seems as though they listened to my advice and said, you know what, Mars, let's just do this with the fuel rod cannon. Now, obviously, the Halo community is going bonkers over this. I think I saw Mint Blitz crap his pants on his last video. But with the fact that there are barely any devs working on this game, and they're just a skeleton crew keeping maintenance of Halo Infinite going forward, it seems like this is the reason why they're doing this. I mean, I'm not angry at Halo Studios for doing this, particularly because at the same time, they're doing what they can with the resources they have. I think the biggest gripe I have is really with Microsoft. You have all these trillions of dollars you're making every year. You might as well, take a little bit of that and give it to Halo Studios to at least help them with resources. I felt bad for some of the devs here, because just like watching Sketch talk about this, it seemed like he was about to break down crying. I honestly felt bad. Since they don't have animators, they basically can't even do much here. They can't even make adjustments, because it just gives me a reminder of how poor this game was handled by previous leadership. Especially because they had an older version of fuel rod cannon from Halo 5 that actually is in the files of the game, but because they don't have animators, they can't actually include reload animations that are updated to be used in this title, which is kind of sad, because I feel like they could have added some more guns at this point that easily would be loved by the fans. In addition to new guns, we also got a new game mode. And I say new, meaning because it's brand new to Halo Infinite. It's been a game mode since Halo 2, but they finally added it. Assault is finally back with both neutral and one bomb versions of it. It has the same rules as before. Can't really throw the ball at all. Very different from what Halo 5 had, because back in those days, you can literally launch the ball like it's nothing. You have to stay on the point this time, which does make it more difficult, because you can't just leave it there like you did in Halo 5 and let it just arm itself and you can just kill people around you. You actually have to be more strategic in how you plant this. And there is also pretty big changes to ranked. There is now squad battle ranked, which is one of the biggest dubs of this update, including Slayer, Assault, Flag. The live stream did not talk about this, making me almost have an aneurysm live, because I thought that they literally did the dumbest thing and only added Assault as part of your ranked playlist, which would have made me lose my shit, but they didn't. They actually added all these different game modes, and now we have a brand new ranked playlist to play. The matches are really fun. There's no radar. It has a good mix of maps. Playing on Geyer, Zanzibar, I'm not going to call it with this new name because I feel like it's not really that great. Refuge, Exiled, Rendezvous, Valhalla. I mean, these are all good map additions to use for squad battle, and I think it's great overall. Now, the problems or the critiques is that when I was playing ranked, I forgot one of the biggest dumb things that Reaver 3 did at the time that I really didn't think about until now. They still have in place this diamond sweaty stipulation. A year back, roughly, they changed the rules for ranked, saying that if you reach diamond ranking, you can only squad up with other players that are in the same tier or above. So meaning you can only play with players on your squad that are Diamond and Onyx level, which means if you play with friends that are below Diamond, you then have to tell them to go kick rocks because you can't start a game with them in your party. I played my 5 matches and, as a Chad, I got Diamond 5 right off the rip. My boys who did not get a Diamond right off the rip, I can't play with them anymore. I have to tell them, hey, go grind, go get better, get good, and you come back and see me later. And I instantly become alone, like a loser. And I'd much rather not have that. And what bothers me about this is that my crew is actually getting placed in matches with Onyx, Diamond, and even variants of other rankings. So it tells me that, okay, well, you're telling me I can't rank up with my team, but you're going to place them in game modes with Onyx level players anyway? So why does that even matter? And I think a lot of this is just oversight. They're not really making these adjustments right off the rip. I think a lot of people at Halo Studios forgot that this was a stipulation they added, and it feels like after people get frustrated with not being able to play a team-based game mode like squad battle with your friends, they're gonna realize this and have to make some changes. I think they will make some changes. I hope they do, because I feel like not being able to play with a crew of people on squad battle and have to solo queue everything makes life more difficult. It actually takes away what ranked is. You're trying to work as a team. You're trying to be on comp. You're trying to talk with others. And if you don't have that, even in your own lobby, then what's the point of even playing it? And I understand why they implemented this the first time, because the idea of this was that you wanted to try to stop these sweaty players from over destroying everyone. But you also have to understand, this game's in its 4th year. You need to have some dubs on this category. And obviously the 4v4 added Assault, which I think is cool. But the biggest thing for the 4v4 is they added in the map Origin, which is a recreation of the Halo 5 map Coliseum. It's a solid ranked map, but I do still have nightmares of it. It reminds me of the sweaty matches I had back in the day. The BO, the ground pounding, the Halo 5 pistol. God, I really don't miss that. So overall, when I think about this operation, it's highly debated. The weapon balancing can definitely piss some people off. It's not game breaking though, which is good. The ranked additions of Squad Battle are fantastic, and I'm looking forward to playing it more. I just wish the diamond situation is addressed, because it really does hurt my soul I can't play with my crew. The monetization, honestly, is really going to be interesting how they handle it going forward. I think it's good when it comes to the cheapness of buying these armors right off the rip now, rather than having to pay a crazy amount of prices for them later on. And I think so far the first trio of operations we're going to get for the spring look pretty good, but we have to wait and see what happens when they do drop. But what do you think about the Frontlines operation so far? What would you want to add in next operations for the season? Let me know what you think in the comments below. I recently posted a video covering Halo Infinite's performance so far in its lifespan and discuss its current state. Check it out in the end screen. Until next time, this is Marsman signing off. Game on.